don't have to do any of this. You know, have this.
Right. Nothing's missing.
Yeah, like I don't, when you come to a place where you don't have to do it, everything gets easier.
100%. People would be better off if they didn't determine what they were going to do based on whether or not they perceive it as hard or not. You will never face an obstacle that's bigger than you. You think the obstacle stopped you, but you actually stopped yourself because you thought it was bigger than you.
Myron Golden is a prominent business growth consultant, author, and motivational speaker, known for his expertise in entrepreneurship and personal development.
I gotta say, you're probably like the one guy that I've wanted to interview that I just have not had on the show yet.
Wow.
For multiple reasons.
Honored.
Yeah.
I'm honored.
I love the faith component. I love the money component. I love everything that you're doing, and I'm excited.
Yeah, we're going to have a good conversation today. I got a sneaky suspicion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So first off, I kind of just am curious as a guy who's watched you, like your background, because you know a lot about theology, you know a lot about money, you know a lot about making offers and online and everything else. Like, how did you even get into this online space, but knowing so much theology? Well,
I came to Christ when I was 16 years old. And I was not a good person before that. I wasn't terrible by a lot of standards, but I had a bad attitude. I had a lot of anger issues and a lot of stuff going on in my life. And when I received Christ at 16, the teenage friend of mine who shared Christ with me said, now you need to start reading the Bible. Well, I'm 16, 17 years old. And I had never read a book in my life that wasn't a comic book or a karate book. And now I need to start reading the Bible, this big, thick book with little bitty words, no pictures, 2 columns. Everything about it was like way off, except I already, like when I received Christ, I'm like, I'm all in. I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to play. Like, if this is going to be my life, this is going to be my life. This is not going to be something I play with. And so I started reading the Bible, and I was blown away by how practical it was. And at 17, as a 17-year-old virtual illiterate, not that I couldn't read, but that I didn't read, I was blown away by how much sense the Bible made practically, not religiously, because I had gone to church my whole life and had never read the Bible. I'd gone to church mostly because my parents made us, right? And I'd never read the Bible, and I thought because when I went to church, that's the only place they talked about the Bible, I thought the Bible was about religion. But when I started reading it, I found out that it wasn't about religion, it's about life. And I was just blown away that so many practical principles, patterns, precepts, promises are in the Bible that will help us live a better life day to day as a husband, as a father, as a son, as a brother, as a friend, as a business person. And so it has the instructions on how to live a better life here on earth.
Yeah.
So, as well as how to have eternal life when you leave earth. Yep. So I'm like, this is really fascinating. So I became a follower of Christ before I became a businessman because I became a follower of Christ as a teenager.
Yeah.
I didn't become an entrepreneur until I was 25.
Mm-hmm.
So
did you ever go to like seminary or anything?
I didn't go to seminary. I went to a so-called Bible college for a little while, but I was blown away. Even my first semester in class, like I was 19 when I graduated from high school because I flunked the 10th grade. And so I went off to Bible college, and I can remember in my first semester in a class that I was taken by this Bible teacher at this Bible college, and as a 19-year-old, listening to this man teach this class, I thought to myself, wow, this guy must not ever study the Bible. Like my first day in his class, that was the thought, wow, this guy must not ever study the Bible. So yeah, I did, but I didn't learn Bible there. Right. I learned Bible by reading it and then applying it.
Yep.
And then seeing what happened after I applied what I read. So that's how do I don't think I know the Bible, but the things I do understand from the Bible, I understand them because when I read it and I did it and I paid attention to what happened, I saw the results and put it on rinse and repeat.
Yeah. And the reason I ask is because I've seen a lot of your content and I see you tie scripture into the things you're saying and why they're true. And, you know, I've been saying this for a long time. Like, it's hard for me to have a lot of these like psychologists on the podcast and these guys like self-help guys. And I'm like, bro, just read your Bible. All you need is Jesus. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, it's really simple. You're just trying to regurgitate something that was written
thousands of
2,000
years ago. Right. And then you're trying to put a new spin on
Yeah.
like an old truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just curious, like what your background was
Yeah.
with it.
And what's kind of amazing is when I got started as an entrepreneur, I started in the financial services industry selling insurance and investments, and I was just terrible. I was terrible at sales. Like, I wasn't bad. I was way worse than that. It was like way worse. And I got started in this opportunity, this biz op, selling insurance and investments called A.L. Williams, which later became Primerica, in October of 1985. And I did presentation after presentation after presentation after presentation after presentation after presentation, and I kept doing them. I did not make my first sale until April of 1987. I was doing presentations for 18 months before I made my first sale, and my first commission check was $125.66. And when I got that check, I told my wife, baby, we are going to be rich.
We made it.
We're going to be rich. And it wasn't because of the amount of money. It was because I finally found something that worked to make a sale.
Yeah.
And when I find something that works in business, I never get bored with it. I just keep getting paid with it.
That's one thing I want to bring up because I have had to learn that the hard way. You know, I've started lots of businesses. I think I've started 8 different 7 or 8 figure businesses.
Wow.
And
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
That's a lot.
And it'll make you believe you could do anything and turn anything into gold and not go deep on any one thing. And, you know, you go through a tougher economy and a recession and everything else, you realize like, oh, all these other things are probably a byproduct of a really good economy. And I got to really go deep on what I do know really well.
100%.
So
Yeah.
for me, I've had to learn that. And I think every entrepreneur gets shiny objects and they're like, oh, Myron's out here making offers. Ryan's out here flipping real estate.
Right.
This dude's out here making Mr. Beast money on YouTube.
Right.
I need to do them all.
Yeah. I think the mistake people make, or one of the big mistakes people make, is they're looking for what to do instead of who to become.
Explain that.
So, like you said, Myron's doing offers. Ryan's doing flipping real estate. Russell's doing funnels, right? So they're looking for something to do, but they don't realize that doing is the activity that ideally pours out of identity, who you are.
Yeah.
Like inputs create outputs. Most people believe if what I'm doing is not working for me, try harder. But if you do more of what's already not working, right? It's not the formula for success. It's the formula for exhaustion.
Bad habits.
Exactly.
We were talking about golf earlier. I make fun of my guys all the time because everyone in the office is pretty new to golf within the last year or two. And so they're all like, they're starting to get in the 90s and break. And I'm like, guys, you keep swinging bad over and over again.
All you're doing is reinforcing bad habits.
Yeah. You need to get a coach. All of you, just get a coach. And, but yeah, I hear that all the time. Like, dude, I'm working so hard. I'm putting these hours in. I'm like, you're doing the wrong work.
Right.
It's going to lead to nothing.
You're working hard on something that will never work well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you change identity?
Change, the word change, how do you change your identity? The word change is the same as the word transformation. So I believe that all transformation is the result of 4 things: awareness, intention, decision, and discipline. Awareness. When I'm not aware of how the thing, whatever the thing is, it could be real estate, it could be funnels, it could be internet marketing, it could be whatever, being a best-selling author, it doesn't matter. I become aware of a principle that I was unaware of. And because of this new awareness, I set a new intention. And the intention, ideally, would be best if it were an input intention, not an outcome intention. We don't have the ability to control outcomes. We do have the ability to control inputs, and inputs create outcomes. So we set an intention based on our new awareness, and then we make a decision, which is not the same as a choice. Choose means pick one. Decision, de, Latin root of or from, side, which means to cut. When we make a decision, we cut ourselves off from any other possibility. So when somebody makes a decision, they're not a dabbler, they're a doer. Why? Because they've decided this is my only path. And then you stay on that path with discipline, and you stay on it and stay on it and stay on it. What's discipline? Doing the thing you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, the way you're supposed to do it, and doing it that way every time you do it. And when you apply those 4 principles, transformation happens. But all transformation begins with awareness.
So you got to be aware of that, hey, what I'm doing is not working.
Right.
I got to be aware of the opportunity that does work.
Right. And I have to become aware of the fact that when I become the person, doing the thing will happen.
Yeah.
As opposed to, if I do the thing and I try really hard to do the thing, then I can become the person and everybody will know how awesome I am.
Well, I think that's results-based
It is.
belief.
It is.
Which is not good.
It doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. If you can even make it work once, it's not sustainable.
Right. You got lucky.
Right.
Yeah. It's interesting because I've thought about identity a lot. And, obviously as Christians, our identity is in Christ. And, even for me, I grew up in the church just like you. And, I got saved when I was young, but I can't say that my identity was always in Christ as a young guy. I mean, I'm 35 now. In my 20s, I was playing pro baseball, and my identity was definitely in baseball and the results that I had every game. And it's like, oh, I went 0 for 4. I'm a terrible baseball player. The next day, oh, I did well.
Right.
Here come the big leagues.
Right.
And you're just on this roller coaster. And I rode that roller coaster for 8 years. And, I got into business because baseball was failing. I had no choice. It was like, I'm making $1,200 a month in the minor leagues. If I don't make it, what am I going to do? And so I had to start hustling. I was flipping couches, got into house flipping. I was doing everything. And I had success. But the one thing I'll say, even throughout it, was that I guess my identity was that, hey, whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to be the best. If I'm playing baseball, I'm going to be the best. If I'm flipping couches, I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be the best house flipper. If I'm doing a podcast, I want to be the best. I want this to be the best experience for my guest. If I'm golfing, I want to be the best. I want to win.
What do you shoot, by the way?
I'm scratch.
Sorry. I got a little attitude. I'm going to love playing golf with you.
We're going to play.
I'm going to love it. It's going to be fantastic.
Well, you tell me how long you're in town. We'll go hit them off the tees right now.
Let's go. That's what I'm talking about.
But yeah, I just want to be the best. That's to me, that was my, I don't want to say my deeper identity, but it's just if I'm going to do something, there's no hey, I'm just going to do it and check
Dabble.
the box.
Right.
Not even dab, it will get done.
Right.
But it's no, I'm going to do it and dominate. And I just don't know where it came from or how it happened, but people just don't have that.
Right. And I think they don't have it. Well, see, it's really interesting that we're talking about this stuff because I believe that God gave us the ultimate formula for success in the very first chapter in the Bible, the very first time he talked to a human, which is kind of mind-blowingly amazing. It's almost like he gave us a wink and said, if you don't get to chapter 2, you're going to be okay, right? And so it says in Genesis 1:1, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, right? I'm thinking, well, why would he do that? God doesn't need anything. So why would he, why even bother, right? You don't need a heaven. You don't need an earth. You don't need a bunch of people doing a bunch of wonky stuff. So why would God create a heaven and the earth? And the only answer I've been able to discover is because he is creative and therefore it is in nature to create.
Yeah.
Right? So God created everything as an expression of his creativity.
Yeah.
Cool. So the very first thing that God tells us about God is that he's creative.
Yeah.
The first thing he tells us about us is that he created us in his image, which means he created us to create stuff and he made us to make stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first thing God tells us about man. Well, the first thing he says to a human was in Genesis 1:27-28, where it says, and God blessed them and said unto them, be fruitful and do multiply, do replenish, do subdue, and have dominion. So the first command is a fivefold command. Be, do, have. That's the command. That's the success formula. Be, do, have. Which means don't be, can't do, can't have. Be a little, do a little, have a little. be a lot, do a lot. Do a lot, have a lot. But what most people do, and what's fascinating even about that is the way that he made us. He put inside of us a very insatiable desire to have more, better experiences in this thing called life. Like your desire to be the best is a God-given desire. Your desire, everybody's desire to take a great vacation, to live in a decent house, to wear nice clothes and drive nice cars and have good relationships, those are all God-given desires. God gave us the desire to have so that we would yield to the willingness to do the thing that earns us the right to have it. Our desire to have without the willingness to do is what creates criminals. Like human beings' desire to have without a willingness to do is what creates criminals.
Yeah.
It's what creates wrongdoing towards people. I want to have what they have, but I don't want to do the right thing to get it.
I don't want to earn it.
Right.
Yeah.
However, even people, like when people decide to change their life, that's why they start, okay, I'm finally willing to do the thing that earns me the right to have the stuff, right?
Yeah.
But they don't realize that just like doing is the seed capital for having, being is the seed capital for doing.
Being is the seed
capital for doing. So being is the genesis. It's what doing springs out of.
Yes.
Right? So we have to focus on the becoming. God is most concerned with us becoming more.
Sanctification.
More like him.
Yeah.
Right? We are concerned with having more. But when we realize and wake up and realize the best way for us to have more is to yield to becoming more, which will automatically make us do more, which will automatically cause us to have more.
Yeah, and this is my whole point when people I'm just like, well, you just need Jesus. Like if you accept Jesus, the next step is you're going to become more like Jesus, and all of these
if you're yielded.
Yeah.
But if you resist, then you're not going to become more like Jesus. Because a lot of people receive Christ, but then they have this internal resistance because they want to hold on to the past as they walk into the future.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
You got to die to your old self.
Yes.
Yeah, and it reminds me too of what you're saying of like, do a little, have a little.
Right.
And it's the whole concept of
but be a little, do a little. Exactly. And so if you think about be, do, have, being addresses my identity. Doing addresses my activity. Having addresses my property.
So it starts with identity. Taking identity causes you to take action, and then you
action
have fruit.
Produces property.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And when you think about it, even when Moses asked God, God says to Moses, hey, march into Pharaoh's office, tell him I said, let my people go. Moses asked a question. He says, who shall I say has sent thee? Now, when I first started reading that, I'm thinking, this is the worst question in the history of the world. Surely he can come up with a better question than that, right? In my youth, I'm like so delusional. I'm thinking, bro, I would not ask that question. Like if it were me, Moses, I know you're Moses and everything, and I'm just me, but the question I would ask, what can I tell Pharaoh you said you're going to do if he says no? That would be the question I ask, right? But Moses understands that authority is always an identity issue, right? And so he said, who shall I say has sent you? The answer made less sense than the question to me for decades. Tell him that the I am, that I am, has sent you.
That's part of just the being.
That's right. So God's identity is the ultimate identity. He is the I am, that I am. In fact, even if I am an atheist, I can't tell you who I am without first telling you who he is, because I have to say I am an atheist. So I told you his name before I gave you my identity.
Oh, they ain't gonna like that.
Right? And so God is the ultimate identity.
Yeah.
And that's why when I yield to him and I just trust that I am who he says I am, that's when I know who I am. If I think I am, most people go through life with what I call a lie-identity. Well, what's a lie-identity? It's all the things, all the people around you your whole life told you you are not. You're not tall enough, you're not good enough, you're not talented enough, you're not athletic enough, you don't work hard enough, you're not smart enough, you're not enough. Who you are is not enough. That is a lie-identity. And it's one of the things that the enemy uses to keep you from tapping into your potential. And what most people do is they attempt to replace the lie-identity with what I call a my-identity. And that's another fake identity that we create to make people think we're more than they made us think we are not. And it's not until I yield to the ultimate identity and trust that I am exactly, no more and no less than exactly who he says I am.
Right.
When we realize that we are who he says we are and nobody else, we start operating in that. That's when we can produce fruit that nobody else can produce. That's when we can be at peace. We can stop thinking we have competition. We can stop vying for position.
Yeah.
Because if something's for me, no one can keep it from me.
Yeah.
And if it's not, no one can get it to me. And if they could, I wouldn't want it anyway.
Yeah. As you're saying this, it's making me just think about like even this identity and being the best. And I want to be clear, like it's not even about like, oh, I'm better than this person.
Right.
It's
exactly. I want to be the best version of myself.
Exactly.
Like I want to operate. I want in my existence, in my experience of life, I desire operational excellence.
Yes.
In everything that I do.
Yep.
And if it's not excellent, then I'm not capitalizing on, I'm not maxing out my potential.
Yes.
Yeah. So being the best is not competitive. It's not, I'm not competing with other people. Somebody just asked me a question at the event. They said, Myron, I have a question for you. Why don't you do free plus shipping book funnels? Like, because we were at Funnel Hacking Lot, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you do free plus shipping book funnels? Why don't you give your book away for free and then, do all the upsells and stuff? My answer was because it doesn't match my brand. Like, I don't want to copy somebody else's tactic that works well for them, but it's not a mismatch of their brand. But me attempting to do what they're doing would be a mismatch of my brand. And now I'm confusing my audience.
Right.
And there's no need to do that just to make some money. So
let's talk about that. So obviously we're talking about identity, and I mean, that affects every aspect of your life, really.
100.
How you treat your wife, how you raise your kids,
100.
all those things. But I mean, obviously you're here right now for Funnel Hacking Live with Russell, and he's been here, and there's a lot of people probably asking you, Myron, how do I make better offers? How do I sell more? So walk me through like your framework for making great offers and how you think about it.
Yeah. I think ultimately, like when I think about like even the name of your podcast, Wealthy Way, like most people erroneously think that money is wealth, right?
Yep.
Money is not wealth. Money is one of the results of creating wealth. So then what is wealth? Wealth is my ability to produce a result for someone other than myself, or for a whole lot of other someones other than myself. So the best way to create an offer is to obsess over the problems of a large group of people with a big problem and deep pockets who are willing to spend some of that money in those deep pockets to solve that problem, right? So how do you create the offer? You create the offer by obsessing over their problem and figuring out an elegant, efficient, effective solution for them. And then they will pay you whatever it costs to solve that problem. If you can prove to people that you've obsessed over their problem more than they can't stop paying attention to you.
Yeah, because you have the answer.
Right.
Yeah. And so one part you said about that, though, was going after people with deep pockets. So do you not think that selling to, I guess, the masses is wise?
Well, it depends on what your objective is.
Right.
So I think that if you solve a problem for people with deep pockets just means deep enough to solve that problem. Right?
Enough money to solve the problem you're solving.
Exactly.
Right.
So for some people, their deep pocket might not even be money. It might just be enough care and concern to watch a YouTube video that answers that question. Right? So, but they're not paying with their money, but they're paying with something that's more important than their money. They're paying with their time and attention.
Yeah.
And then somebody might say, well, you know what? I really liked what he said on that video. I found out he has a book and it's only $30 and it's only $9.99 shipping and handling. I'll buy the book.
It's not free.
Right. It's not free. And so deep pockets means they've got $40 to invest in a book and shipping.
Yeah.
Right. Deep enough. The pockets only have to be deep enough to solve the problem they're seeking to solve where they are right now.
Got it.
So you can have something for different segments of, like, we sell a $20 book that I wrote in 2006 or a $30 book that I wrote in 2021, but we also have $1 million a year coaching program, right?
Yeah.
And so the person who buys the $20 book may or may not eventually prove to be one of those people who would like the $1 million coaching program. And either way, it's okay.
Right.
Because a part of my awareness is that nothing's missing. And when I say nothing's missing, I have nothing to hide, I have nothing to gain, I have nothing to lose, and I have nothing to prove. So now I'm free to live my life on purpose because I'm not attempting to make something happen. I'm just working on being the best version of myself and letting that produce what only that can produce.
So we're talking about the same conclusion that we're both after.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so that's why, like, to me, business feels almost effortless in execution. Because just like when you're a professional baseball player, what separates professionals? Like when you said I'm scratch, right? What that made me realize is, oh, that makes sense. A guy who was a professional baseball player understands what it takes to become a scratch golfer. The average golfer doesn't understand that.
Yeah.
Right. So the primary difference between amateurs and professionals in any arena, whether it be business, sports, whatever, is professionals spend 4 to 10 times as much time preparing as they do performing, and amateurs spend 4 to 10 times as much time performing as they do preparing.
Yeah. You asked me, how often I play golf before.
Right.
And I was like,
Once
a week.
Right.
But I have a simulator and I'm at home
And you're practicing. Yes. Right. Which is why you can play golf once a week and be a scratch golfer, because you spend more time preparing to play golf than you do playing golf.
Yep.
And the average person who plays golf spends way more time.
Which is why I'm getting mad at my guys. I'm like, guys, you need to practice.
Go learn the game, bro. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Because I understand how it's supposed to go.
Exactly. And what it takes to make it go that way.
Yeah.
Right. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So with offers, so the basic premise is obviously solve problems, make sure they got enough money to pay to solve the problem, your solution.
Or enough resources, because sometimes resources is just time and attention.
Right.
And if a person pays you long enough with their attention, it won't be long before they'll pay you with their assets.
Is that why you're such a big proponent of challenges? I know you got one coming up.
That's why I'm such a big proponent of what I call community service content.
Yeah.
Like the content we're creating right now. Content that we create that has value, that somebody can listen to, go do something with, that impacts their life in a great way, and the only thing they had to pay was attention. Because if you can help people for free, they will conclude, if this person helped me this much for free, I cannot imagine how much they'll help me if I pay them.
Right. Makes sense. And how long have you been doing YouTube now? Because, you've blown up pretty recently, like pretty fast.
So you don't have to be the sharpest knife in the drawer.
Yeah.
Just don't be a wooden spoon. Right? So what do I mean by that? Like when it comes to like YouTube and social media, I was so dumb. It's so funny. So I created my YouTube account March 15th, 2007.
So you've been on YouTube 20 years almost.
Exactly. 2007.
Just didn't use it.
No, I did. I created videos. I had lots of videos.
Really?
Yeah, but I was on YouTube for 14 years before I knew that there was such a thing as YouTube monetization. That's what I mean. I was just
no awareness.
Yeah, I didn't have the awareness. And I'm at a mastermind, and Russell has this guy speaking, and the guy's talking about all this money he's helped people make on YouTube. I'm like, people make money on YouTube? What does that mean? I'm on YouTube. I'm not making any money from it. I felt like the biggest dodo bird in the world. I'm like, and so I get home and I'm talking to my son and my daughter, and we always debrief when we come back from masterminds. Like, what was your big takeaway? This is my big takeaway. What was your big takeaway, Dad? My big takeaway was YouTube pays people money. My daughter's like, well, I knew that. I'm like, what do you mean you knew that? Yeah, there are kids like who live in Hollywood mansions from their YouTube channel. And this is what I said when my daughter said that to me. I said, what does that mean? I was so confused. Like, what are you talking about? So I'm on YouTube for 14 years. I've got probably 5,000 subscribers at that time.
Okay.
I've got thousands of watch time hours.
Okay.
And all I had to do to get paid was click a button that says turn on monetization. There's a button.
I could have been getting this the whole time.
Exactly. And so that was in October 2021.
Okay.
We turned on monetization in February of 2022. We made $305 our first month, and we hadn't put up a new video in 6 or 7 months. I'm like, so my guy, Zach, he came to me and said, we made $305 last month. I said, for what? He said, for the videos on YouTube. I said, we didn't do any videos. He said, for the ones you already had there. Oh, okay. But I didn't think anything else of it. Okay, cool. That'll pay for some golf. I thought something like that, right?
Golf.
Right, that'll pay for some golf.
Some golf balls.
Right, exactly. Then the next month he comes to me, he's like, we made $353 on YouTube. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? We didn't do anything. For your old videos, they're paying you because they're putting ads on your old videos. I'm like, okay. So they paid me $600 and almost $660 in 2 months for doing nothing. What will they pay me if I do something? I'm going to start doing a video a week, and I'm going to do a video a week for 10 years and see if I can get good at this. I don't care how much money I make. I don't care how many subscribers I get. I just want to see if I can get good at this. And if I can get good at this in 10 years, it's going to be a thing. And so, April 1st, 2022, that's 2.5 years ago.
Right.
We had 10,500 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah.
And we started doing a video a week. And we went from $353 in March to $1,557 in April. And I said, say that in my good ear. Right? And so I'm like, okay, that's just one video a week. What if we start doing 2 videos a week? So we started doing 2 videos a week in May.
Yeah.
It went from $1,557 to $15,700. Say what? And then it went to $27,000. And then wait, they're paying me tens of thousands of dollars a month to talk about stuff I want to talk about?
I was going to do this anyway.
I was going to do this anyway. Exactly. So blowing up on YouTube, I mean, like, we have had like the trajectory of our YouTube channel has been redonkulous, right?
Yeah.
So 2.5 years ago, we had 10,500 subscribers. I think we hit today 771,000 on one channel. We started a new channel in July, and that channel has 21,000. So we have like 700 and whatever that is, 90,000 subscribers.
What's the other channel for?
I separated the Bible study channel from the business channel.
Oh, you have a Bible study channel.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Bible study with Myron Golden.
Oh, nice.
And so like we launched that channel July 1st, and it's got 21,000 subscribers.
That's awesome.
Yeah, in 2 months.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, this is a thing. Now I'm going to say something that sounds ridiculous based on all that stuff I just said, but I'm not pretending to be humble, and what I'm saying is not ridiculous.
Okay.
Because I understand what's possible now. I didn't understand what was possible when I got started. I am not good at YouTube yet, but I'm going to be. When I get good, Katie bar the door. That's a Texas colloquialism. It means it's about to be on now. So yeah, I'm not good at YouTube yet, but I'm getting better at it.
Yeah.
And so the average, I believe one of the reasons people can't make money on YouTube is because they're trying to make money on YouTube. My objective is not to make money on YouTube. My objective is to get good at creating value on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I'm good at creating value on YouTube, but I'm not good at it compared to how good I could be at it when I get good at it.
Yeah, you're realistically 2 years in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny. I had a similar epiphany like you. I was flipping all these houses, taking on all this debt, and, I had 50 house flips going on in Vegas.
Wow.
Like running crews, running a business, having all this hard money loans out and all this stuff. And, COVID hits, and all of a sudden, like everything's up in the
Screeching halt.
air. I'm like,
wait, what?
yeah, like, am I going to lose all my properties? Like, what's going on here? And then, like, all people could do was watch YouTube and social media. And somebody hits me up and they're like, dude, you should start a YouTube channel. And I was like, why? Who does YouTube? Like, why?
Like, sorry, what?
I'm like, I'm busy, like, making money.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, you can make some real money on YouTube. And I'm like, yeah, but, like, no, I make a lot of money flipping houses. And they're like, yeah, but check out these guys. And so I check out some of these financial YouTubers with millions of subscribers.
Like Graham.
Yep. So these guys,
Right.
They're making videos. They're like, yeah, I made 200 grand this month on YouTube. And I was like, what? I was like, wait, how? Like, what
did you do?
Yeah. Like, what'd you sell? Like, what's your business? And he's like, oh, well, no, that's just YouTube ads. And I was like, what do you talk about? Like, what's your business? Right. It's like, no, I just talk about real estate. I'm like, but how much real estate do you have? And it's like, well, I have like a couple rental properties. And I'm like, what is going on here? Like, I just
good. So I'm not by myself. I found my kindred spirit, my long lost brother. Right? You didn't know about YouTube either,
dude. I was so confused. I was like, how? Wait, he has no risk. He has no employees. He has no overhead. He's out here just putting out a couple videos a week, and he's making hundreds of thousands a month.
Dollars a month
net, just no expenses. And I'm like, I'm in the wrong business. Like, it just clicked.
Like, we about to go all in on this YouTube thing.
Bro, I bought his course. I bought everyone's course. I was like, I'm buying a camera. I'll buy whatever I need. I'm going to make videos. And so I just went all in on making videos during COVID.
Wow.
And TikTok became a thing too. And I got on TikTok early and dude, it was just crazy. But I had the same epiphany. I was like, what is going on here? How do these guys make money making videos?
Right.
So, yeah, super funny. But I think what's interesting, though, for you, just, you were already successful before YouTube. And obviously, YouTube's helped a lot.
Sure.
But it's not like I'm curious why the $300 was so much of a carrot where you were like, oh, that's nice.
Because I didn't do anything.
But you had made millions before.
Yeah, I'd made millions.
Yeah.
But $300 from nothing?
These guys just gave it to you.
They sent me money for videos that I made eons ago and don't even remember what the videos were. I'm like,
right.
Like, this was like, they sent me this money from videos that I just happened to put up. What if I like go all in on like doing this thing intentionally?
Right.
Right. And I had no idea that we could go from, $300 a month to tens of thousands of dollars a month in a couple of months. I had no idea that would happen.
But you became aware of guys like Graham and you're like, okay, these guys, Mr. Beast is made. Okay, I get it.
Right.
This could be really big.
This can be bigger than, but even more than the fact that YouTube itself can be big and the money that you make on YouTube can be big, the money that YouTube can make you because it curates your audience is way bigger
for your other businesses.
For my other businesses.
And that's where I can, I got attracted by the YouTube ad money. I'm like, oh,
right, free
thousands of dollars. This is, but then you're like, it's the back end.
The back end is insane.
Yeah,
we're talking about, like people talk about buying ads, which I buy ads now, but I didn't buy ads for years. We've been buying ads since maybe April of this year.
So it's
for
new.
like 3 years.
Yeah,
like not 3 years. Less than 3 years. But yeah, our average business revenue for the last 3.5 years, even pre-ads, was about $30,000 to $32,000 a day, 365 days a year.
Yeah.
Because we put out content.
It's all just organic content.
Organic content. $0 on ads. Wow. Organic content and joint ventures. That's it. And so it's so surreal. It doesn't seem like it could be real until you do it, and then you're like, "Oh, this is more real than real." Right?
I can play a lot of golf.
A lot of golf. Impact a lot of lives. I mean, like we do a lot of philanthropy. Like I support widows and some orphans and stuff, and an orphanage and Liberia and just all kinds of really cool stuff like that. But I believe that as much good as we do in the world through philanthropy and charity, the good we do in the world through business is way more impactful because the business impacts way more people
Right.
than I ever could with charity, even if I gave away tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. So,
Yeah. It's funny, man, because I've got a heart for entrepreneurs and helping them come to Christ. And, it's just like, man, if you can change an entrepreneur, the trickle down is enormous.
right.
And I've just seen it. I mean, we run in the same circle. So you see so many guys who are chasing so much money and fulfillment and things, and they're just never happy.
Right.
They're on to their next marriage. They're on to the next offer, the next thing, and it's just never enough.
Right.
And what you described earlier, I think a lot of people probably missed it, but was so like the goal. You said like, hey, I don't have to do any of this.
Right.
I have this.
Right. Nothing's missing.
Yeah, like I don't. When you come to a place where you don't have to do it, everything gets easier.
100%. Nothing to gain, nothing to lose, nothing to hide, nothing to prove.
But yet you
just
still
is.
stay hungry.
Right. And if you allow your hunger to be a hunger for becoming more, rather than a hunger for doing more or having more, everything changes.
Yeah, for you, would you say it's not about having more? It's just
No,
that
because
becoming your best.
becoming the best version of yourself perpetually. Like most people don't realize that the journey is the destination, because otherwise there is no there.
Yeah.
And people think, well, when I get there, I make $1 million a year. I get there, I make 6 figures. I get there, I make 8 figures. When I get there, I'm going to be happy. There's no there. If you can't be happy here, you ain't going to be happy there.
Yeah. It's the same thing with generosity. Well, if I had money, then I would be generous.
Right. If you ain't generous when you broke, you ain't going to be generous when you got money.
Definitely not.
Right.
So back to offers, like,
One
I
of
think,
my favorite subjects.
yeah, I think you're most known for offers. And that's kind of like what you've built your brand around, I would say.
100%.
So, I mean, like a lot of people don't even like, what are some things we talked about the big overview of offers, but like, what don't people know about offers that they need to know?
I think maybe one of the most valuable financial principles I've learned in my life is poor people and middle class people feel like everything is expensive because they pay for things with money they've exchanged their time for. So they feel like they're paying for everything with their life because they are.
It's time.
Right. You're trading time for money. So let's say, I got a couple of phones here. So let's say I've got some money. We're going to call this some money. I got some money.
Okay.
And I want to buy this car. And I've got some time. So what I do is I take some of my time and I trade my time to somebody for some money, and they give me the money. But when I get the money, I don't have the time anymore because the time's gone and I can't get it back. It's gone forever.
Yep.
Right? So then I see this car and I'm like, I got this money that I've changed my time for, and I'm going to take this money that I've changed my time for, I'm going to trade that in for this car. So now I don't have the time and I don't have the money anymore, but now I have the car. And now the car is becoming worth less over time. Right? So I've traded an invaluable asset for a limited asset, and then traded the limited asset for a depreciating asset. And I wonder why I'm getting broker. Right? Okay. So that analogy made sense, right?
Yep.
But watch this. If I'm an entrepreneur and the thing that I create, because I obsess over other people's problems, is I create offers. So now, because I pay for things with offers, everything costs the same amount. It doesn't matter if it's this watch or this phone, this iPhone, which I think they're about $1,700, $1,800 now, I guess, for an iPhone, for a phone, right? Which that sounds crazy, right? Okay. Or a brand new car, or a house, or a private island, or a mountain, or a private jet, or this bottle of water.
Right.
It all cost the same amount. Now I know that sounds crazy, and that's why I'm saying it slowly so people can say, I'm saying this like this so people can begin to disagree with me in their mind.
Yeah.
So that when I prove it, they can be so blown away. They'll be like, oh man, my brain just melted. Right. And so this water, this phone cost me no more than this bottle of water. This watch was a gift, so I can't use that. But my car, whichever car you want to talk about, whichever one of my cars you want to talk about, cost me no more than this bottle of water. Why? Because I pay for everything according to my creativity. Notice what I didn't say. I didn't say I pay for things with my creativity. I didn't say I pay for things out of my creativity. I didn't say I pay for things from my creativity. I said I pay for things according to my creativity. Now, why is that important? If I paid for it out of, with, or from my creativity, after I paid for it, I'd have less creativity than I had before I paid for it.
Yeah.
But if I pay for it according to my creativity, I can pay for it using creativity and have no less creativity after I paid for it than I had before I paid for it. That is a game changer. One of the greatest awarenesses of my life on planet Earth in 63 years is what I just said. Now, what does that mean? I'm going to look at something I'd like to buy, and it's outside my current spending comfort zone. So what would that be for somebody? Just whatever. It doesn't matter. Just tell me what that would be for somebody.
100,000.
Now, but what's the thing I'm going to buy?
A car.
A car. I'm going to buy a $100,000 car. Okay, so I can look at that car, and if I make $100,000 a year, I ask the question, is this worth a year of my life? But I say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create an offer. I'm going to create a $5,000 offer, and this $5,000 offer is going to create a transformation for somebody that's worth $50,000 to them. So they're going to pay me $5,000. So when I create the offer, I have to use creativity to create the offer, right? So now I'm using my creativity to create the offer. So I create the offer, and then a person gives me money for the offer, right? So they give me the money, boom, I give them the offer. Guess what? I don't have the money anymore, but I still have, but I gave them the offer. They paid me for it, but I still have the offer. They bought it, but I still have it, which means I can sell it to somebody else. So this one person that gave me $5,000, that doesn't preclude me from selling that same $5,000 offer to another person or another 10 people or another 100 people or another 1,000 people, right? So I still have the offer. I still have the creativity that I used to create the offer, and I have the money. Now I take the money and I go buy the car. I don't have the money anymore, but I have the car, the creativity, and the offer, which means I can go sell the offer again and replace the money that I no longer have because I spent it on the car.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if I'm creating an offer that makes me enough money to pay for a bottle of water, I'm creating an offer that pays me enough money to pay for a car, or I'm creating an offer that pays me enough money to pay for a plane, or I'm creating an offer that pays me enough money to buy an island. It doesn't matter. I'm creating an offer. If I have a $5,000 offer and I sell that to 20 people, that's $100,000. If I sell it to 200 people, that's $1 million. If I sell it to 2,000 people, that's $10 million. If I sell it to 20,000 people, that's $100 million. Well, that's just mathing.
Yeah.
Right? But guess what I still have? I still have all of the creativity that I had when I created the offer. But the reality is I actually have more because now I've created this new asset. And I know how to create an asset. So guess what else I can do? I can go create another one. And so that's what I mean when I say for creative entrepreneurs who pay for things with offers, everything costs the same amount. It costs me, according to my creativity, to create an offer that I exchange for some money and then exchange the money for the thing I desire to buy. And I still have the offer and the creativity. So when middle-class people and poor people buy things with money they've exchanged their time for, they actually become poorer. But when creative entrepreneurs create offers to pay for things, when you decide to buy something that's outside your current spending comfort zone and you create an offer to pay for it, buying that thing actually makes you richer. Would you like me to give you an example from my own personal life?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know how all of the "we will inconvenience you at our convenience" airlines play all these stupid games, canceling flights and rescheduling flights and delaying flights, and then you're missing connections and you have to spend the night on the floor at the airport and all that, and then you go to the airport and you get accosted by a TSA agent who wishes they were a CIA agent but they couldn't pass the test, all of that stuff. You know how all that stuff happens? So I was traveling and I had two bad experiences really close together. One, I was going to Dallas from Tampa on a nonstop flight to speak at a real estate conference a couple years ago. I get to Dallas, my luggage doesn't come off the conveyor belt. I go fill out the form. Oh, we can't find it, but we'll send it to your hotel. They never send it to my hotel. Fortunately, when I travel, I always travel in a suit. So I had the suit that I had on, but I didn't have any luggage, right?
Yeah.
So fortunately, I didn't just go in some shorts and a T-shirt, or I'd have had to go shopping, right? So cool. And I'm speaking the next morning anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. I wouldn't have even had time to go shopping. So they lost my luggage. So I go back, I fill out the form, get back home, still no luggage. So a month later, the American Airlines calls me and they say, Mr. Golden, like, I know you reported your luggage lost, but if you want to see it again, you're going to have to come fill out this form again. I'm not filling out another form. I don't want the luggage that bad. You're not wasting any more of my life on this luggage conversation. So I just left it alone. 2 months later, they finally delivered my suitcase to my house. I had mold growing on my favorite suit. Right? So cool. That's that experience. That's one. Second one was on my birthday, or it was the day after my birthday. My son rented a yacht for me, for our family to go out on for our birthday, for my birthday, for me and my wife and him and my daughter and my son-in-law and my granddaughter to all go out on this yacht for my birthday. And like, this is the biggest gift my son has ever bought for me. And we're coming back from Cincinnati, Ohio, and our first flight gets delayed, which means we miss our connecting flight because I was doing an event in Cincinnati. And then I'm like, oh man, I'm about to miss the disembarkment of this yacht because my son bought for me. So I had to go buy all new tickets, spent $7,500 on new tickets for me and my team, and fly back home and make it in time. But on that flight, after Southwest canceled my flight and I bought new tickets on Delta, I decided I will never fly commercial again. Now, I made this decision because I was just sick of it. I hate hassle. It's always a hassle to go to the airport. I'm done. Now, the only problem was I had no earthly idea how much it cost to fly private. I had no idea. I had never researched it, never looked into it, never thought about it.
This is expensive.
Right. And so I had a trip coming up in 2 weeks to go to Las Vegas. I'm like, I'm going to fly private. It can't cost more than 25 grand. So the only friend I have that has access to a jet, I call him. His name's Gary. Gary, hey man, can you get me a jet to fly with me and my team to Las Vegas next month or in 2 weeks? He's like, yeah, I can get you a jet, but it's going to be 60 grand. I said, it's going to be how much? No, I'm going to Las Vegas. I'm not going to like Switzerland. He's like, nah, bro. He said, you got to put your big boy pants on if you're going to fly private. Now I'm irritated, right? I only have big boy pants. Get the jet.
I'm not on YouTube yet.
Right. And I was on YouTube, but and it wasn't that I couldn't afford it. I had the money for it.
Yeah.
I just had no idea. And so now I'm shocked. I'm like, 60 grand. That's more than twice as much as I thought it was going to cost. Right.
Yeah.
And I had the money to pay for it. That wasn't the point. The point was 60 grand, but I already made this decision. Right. And just to decide means to cut yourself off from any other possibility. So there's no going back. Even though I have never flown private yet, I already decided I'm not going back to do this commercial thing anymore. So 60,000. Okay, cool. And it hit me. I'm going to create an offer.
Yep.
So I created an offer called the VIP day. Because I charge $40,000 an hour for coaching. And people pay it. So I'm like, I'll just do a VIP day. I'll do a whole day. And I'll sell them the whole day for 200 grand. I sold 2 of them.
Wow.
So 2 people bought the VIP day. So now that's 400 grand. I take out the 60 grand. Man, I'm in great shape. I'm $340,000 to the good.
I could go on a couple of more private flights if I want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just reached out to a couple of people who were in my mastermind. Said, hey, I'm got this new offer, 200 grand. And 2 of them bought it. Okay, cool.
Yep.
So a few months later, I'm like, this 200 grand thing is not working for me. Right. I'm not doing, like, I'm going to raise the price. Because, like, the math is not mathing. I charge $40,000 an hour.
They spend
8 hours.
Yeah.
Times 40,000 is 320,000. I'm selling this for 200 grand. That doesn't make any sense. I'm not doing this anymore. So I said, I had a live event, mastermind, fulfillment event. I said to my people, I said, look, here's the deal, guys. For those of you who think you want this VIP day, and by the way, one of the people who did the VIP day, within 2 weeks of the time he did his VIP day, he had a $6 million day from the stuff that he learned from the VIP day.
Yeah.
And all the other people in the mastermind knew him and they saw him do this thing.
Yeah.
Right. And so I said, okay, here's what's going to happen. So I have this live event. I say, guys, if y'all ever want to get this VIP day thing for 200 grand, this is your last chance. The next time I offer, it's going to be somewhere between 350,000 and 500 grand. You buy it or don't buy it. There's no pressure. I'm just telling you, it's going up. 16 people bought it at 200 grand. That's another 3.2 million. Well, you add that to the 400 grand, that's 3.6 million. Then when I came to the event in Las Vegas, remember the first one was $60,000?
Yeah.
The guy who I was speaking for, I made him pay for half of the 60,000, so he paid me 30,000. Then I had a couple other events I made people pay for that.
Yep.
And now, next thing you know, I'm bringing in all this money from this offer. And since I created that offer, I have generated $12 million from that offer in 2.5 years.
Wow.
And I've only spent $5 million on private jet travel.
That's the
So while
expense of the
other
offer.
people are paying to fly commercial, I profited $7 million because I made a decision to fly private and pay for it according to my creativity.
Wow. That is how you get offers to pay for your life.
That's how you get offers to pay for your life.
You know what's funny is I haven't had one that extreme, but I've done similar things for like fun things I've wanted to do.
Sure.
And so like, you know, I started golfing and I was like, all right, well, I'm going to join a country club. It was $100 grand to join. I was like, how do I get this $100 grand paid for? So I held 10 people, 10 grand, 2-day golf event. You know, we golf first half of the day, mastermind the second half, have fun. People loved it. I was like, boom.
That's a great offer, bro.
Yeah. The golf, like it sold out instantly. Like I paid for the initiation. I'm like, dude, I just joined the club for free. This was sick. And then
That's a great offer story, bro.
yeah. And then what happened was, so I've been a member, almost 3 years now of clubs. And I ended up, you know, I told you I like to golf once a week. And so I started to golf every Friday because I didn't want to golf on weekends. I just want to hang with my family. And so I was bringing my employees and stuff on Fridays and everything. And I was like, wait a minute. These guys are leaving work to go golfing.
What am I doing?
This doesn't make sense. Like, why am I? These guys somebody's got to be working.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm just going to start golfing with people. But I'm like, who do I golf with? I was like, you know what? I'm going to create this golf with Ryan thing. And I was like, hey guys, and I didn't know what it was worth. This was like 3 years ago. I was like, I don't know, guys. Like, if anyone wants to golf with me, it's going to be $2,500. And just here's the link. It was a one Instagram story. And literally like 25 people bought it. And I was like, oh snap. Like
50 grand, play golf with Ryan.
I was like, oh snap. Like I undercharged. Like
1,000%.
I'm going to have to golf for like the next 6 months to like fulfill all,
Right.
but I'm going to golf every week. So it's all good.
Yeah,
And then, you know, eventually it just kept going
That's
up and up.
hilarious, bro.
And so, yeah,
What do you sell it for now?
10. And so that offer has made on the front end hundreds of thousands. Just because to me, it's not trading. I'm going to go golf anyways.
That's anyway money. That's
Yeah.
what I call anyway money.
Yeah. And I'm like, I might as well golf with cool people who are, you know, if you pay, like obviously you got something cool going on that you're willing to do that. And so, and it's led to business relationships and other things that have made millions. And so, yeah, it's same situation of like, hey, I got this thing I want to do. How do I make money to pay for it? And then it ends up making more. So I'm with you on that.
I am laughing so out loud inside right now.
You need golf with Myron. You could steal it.
Bro, it's a wrap. Oh, it's a wrap. That was done before you finished the sentence. Yeah, I know exactly how I'm going to do it too.
Anyway, money.
Anyway, money.
You're doing it 3 times a week anyways.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I love offers. I'm with you. Now, do you think that, I mean, obviously we're talking about offers mainly from a consulting standpoint.
Sure.
That's the value. A lot of people have businesses that aren't consulting, you know,
Right.
they got cogs and everything else. And then a lot of people listening to this are not ready to consult. They haven't done anything.
Right.
So how does somebody apply offers to their life who's maybe not, let's say, high level?
For instance, okay, well, you can make money with affiliate offers. You don't have to have the offer. You can sell other people's offers, and they will pay you a commission.
Right.
I've got offers where we pay people 50% of the money they generate for us. I've got offers where I've got one offer that's $1,000 course, that pays a 70% affiliate commission. Right? So somebody can sell that offer and make $700. They have zero fulfillment. They don't have to mail anything to anybody. They don't have to ship anything. They don't have to teach anybody anything. They don't have to know anything.
They don't have to have authority.
They don't have to be an expert. They don't have to have authority. They don't have to have any books written. They just say, hey, I learned how to make money selling other people's stuff from this Myron Golden program. If you buy it, you can learn how to make money without having to become a guru or a coach or an authority or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, like, and what is an offer? An offer is the opportunity I give a potential client to exercise their desire to buy or otherwise obtain the thing or the things I've helped them realize they've desired all along at a price that I previously decided on and they subsequently agreed to, which they now expect to use to make their experience of life exponentially better. So an offer is an opportunity. That's all you're doing is you're giving somebody an opportunity. You're not talking them into it. You're not convincing them. You're not begging them. You're not congealing them. You're just giving them an opportunity to say yes or no. Tell me yes or tell me no, but tell me now. I got to go.
So, okay, if you're not an authority, you sell somebody else's stuff, right? So how do you go about bringing awareness to the offer and selling and all of that?
Well, people who are convicted, I don't mean convicted felons.
Belief.
People who have belief are believable. I just, like you just interviewed Neo earlier, right?
Yep.
And so I saw Neo. I said, Neo, have you read the book Super Communicators? He said, no. I'm like, bro, that book, right? He said, I'm buying it right now. He's not buying it right now because he knows who Charles Duhigg is. He's not buying it right now because he knows what Super Communicators is about. He's buying it right now because somebody who maybe he views as a communicator said this book is fire.
I want to buy it right now.
That's the point, right? So it's like people who believe something are believable. So don't operate from the standpoint of I'm an expert. Operate from the standpoint of I found this thing and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And then you tell people about the thing you found. That's why I'm not much about promoting offers that I haven't experienced. So if somebody's going to make $700 if somebody's going to make $700 every time they sell this offer that I sell for $1,000, it would make sense for them to buy it for $1,000 and then go through it and then do it and then get a result. Like, I bought this $1,000 course. It made me like $7,000 in a month because I told other people about it and it made me $700 every time I sold. Like, well, that's an easy yes.
Yeah.
Like, who wouldn't buy? Like, people believe people who believe.
Yeah. I'm just thinking through that offer you have right now, and I'm like, okay, so it's like a downline type offer, kind of.
Yeah, it's like a BizOp offer.
Yeah.
But all affiliate offers are BizOp offers.
Right.
I make 7 figures a year promoting other people's offers. And I have my own, and I already have my own offers.
Right.
But I still have other offers that I promote.
Do you just promote them within, like, are they bolt-ons? Are they?
They're kind of bolt-on. They're things that they're anyway money. They're things I would recommend anyway.
Yeah, they're needed for whatever it is you're doing anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, I mean, I'm an Amazon influencer, right? and that program just found out is shut down right now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So I'm an Amazon influencer. I didn't even know what an Amazon influencer was. I was at a mastermind. I heard these women talking, the mother-daughter, they were talking about, yeah, we're Amazon influencers. We just like have videos and we talk about stuff we bought on Amazon and people buy it from us and we make $300,000 a year. We make $300,000 a year opening boxes in front of a camera. What are you talking about? And they showed me how to do it. And I did it. And I don't make $300,000 a year doing it. Well, I make a couple $1,000s a month.
Yeah.
Just recommending books to people that I've read. Like, what?
Yeah.
Not books that I wrote. Books that I've read.
Right.
So, yeah.
There's lots of ways. It reminds me of you seen that Ryan's Toys YouTube?
No.
The kid who opens toys, the little Asian kid.
I have seen that.
Yeah.
And
the kid was making like $30 million a year.
Yeah.
Opening toys.
Right. Like, wait, what? Kind of mind-blowing how much money you can make if you just do the things you're going to do anyway and turn a camera on.
Golf.
Exactly. Turn on the camera. Go golf and turn on the camera.
Yeah. I mean, people come to my office anyway, turn the camera on and just film the conversation.
Exactly.
That's a podcast.
Right. Exactly. You're getting paid to talk to people you're going to talk to anyway.
Yeah. That it's just going to lead to whatever it leads to.
How cool is this age in which we live? There's never been a time in human history when it's been easier to create wealth than right now. But you have to obsess over other people's problems. And see, the problem a lot of people have who want to make money online and they're struggling because they're obsessing over, they're attempting to get other people to obsess over their problems.
Ooh. Yeah, I tell that to people. I'm like, nobody cares about your problems.
At all.
Like, no one cares. Just worry about other people's stuff and you'll make money.
1,000.
I have a 4P process to marketing. Well, I guess marketing and offers too, but it goes product, right? So the offer, hey, what is it I solve? What do I do? What is the person? Who are they? Like, who does this problem solve? 3 is the platform. Where are they at? Where are they hanging out? How do I find this person there? And then the 4th is the problem. Hey, like, what problem do they have? How do I make content on that platform to solve their problem?
But bada bing, bada boom.
That's like, just repeat that.
And just rinse and repeat. Exactly. When you find something that works, don't get bored with it, get paid with it. Put it on rinse and repeat.
How do you stay focused on not getting bored? And not getting shiny object syndrome. This is my problem. This is many people's problems.
I would say, like, I've never really thought about this way before. So I'm about to say something I've never said before because I never had the thought that I just had until you asked me that question. By focusing on identity, obsessing over identity, and becoming the best version of myself instead of doing something, obsessing over doing something or having something. People get bored because they're tired of doing a thing that they've been doing. Like, I can't get bored because everything is fascinating to me. I'm curious about it. I wonder how that works. Did you see that thing? I wonder how that works. Oh, I just saw an ant. I wonder how they can crawl up the side of this table without any ropes. Everything is fascinating to me. So I look at everything as a learning opportunity. How could I possibly get bored? There's so many things in life that I don't know. And the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know. And so I just spend most of my time learning so I don't get bored.
Where do you learn from?
Everywhere possible. So the foundation of my learning is truth. The foundation of truth is scripture. So that's the foundation. Anything else that I learn, I always examine it through that lens.
Yes.
If it doesn't match that lens, I throw it out. If it does match that lens, I keep it in. Okay, so that's 1. 2, I love science. I'm like super geeky.
Let me go back to scripture real quick because I have a question.
Go back.
So this is an internal thing I've thought about a lot. And I like you think about things a lot. And I'm always learning. And that's also the beauty of a podcast. I got your $40,000 an hour right now for free. There we go. So
why'd you have to put me on blast, bro? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, no, this is one of those anyway.
Exactly.
This is an anyway.
It's an anyway.
Yep. So,
and what's interesting is you got the $40,000 an hour for free, but I will benefit from the audience who hears me and resonates with what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And they will benefit because they get value out of what we're saying about the conversation. So everybody wins.
Everybody wins.
Everybody wins. Nobody loses anything in this transaction.
The audience, you, me,
everybody wins. Yes.
Yep. So with scripture and faith and everything else, I've struggled with this because I learn a lot from great people who are non-believers, right? And obviously from a, let's just say ethical, moral standpoint, the Bible is going to be my filter of like, oh, that's a good idea, but I don't think I want to go start a casino. I just don't. I don't think that lines up with what I want to do.
Right.
Right.
It doesn't match who the purpose of your life.
Right.
Right.
Could make a lot of money.
Could make a lot of money.
But
all good money ain't good.
Yeah. So I understand that point of view, but I think one thing I've struggled with too is there's a lot of people giving advice that's good. I guess it's part of the same thing, but it's not biblical, right? And this could be a number of things. Like people are like, well, if your spouse doesn't, support you in that, then she's got to go, right? Like clearly we wouldn't. I'm like, no, that's not good advice, right? Or like something for me, like a big thing, like as I've built my whole entire business, I haven't worked on the weekends, and obviously I'm a believer in rest and the Sabbath. and that's part of my identity. But then, it's like the entrepreneurial world is, hey, grind it out, 80 hours a week, like build your thing, man. Like that's what you got to do. And I'm like, I don't really buy that. Chick-fil-A's open 6 days a week. They do pretty good.
Buy that.
And
Well, you think about this. Things that grow in nature, trees, grass, flowers, they don't hustle and grind. They don't hustle or grind. They ebb and flow. The growth is the result of the beingness, not of effort.
that's funny you say that. That's like, I think it's Matthew 6:33. Like, he's like, hey, look at the flowers.
Exactly.
They don't do
They
anything.
toil not, neither do they spin. What does that mean? They hustle not, neither do they grind.
Yeah. God still provides. They're still here.
Exactly.
Yet you're worried about tomorrow. You're anxious.
Right.
So I guess it's like, man, you got to have a filter for how you take in information, because we're being so inundated with information on social media and masterminds with mentors, and these people are successful. And
These
you're like,
people are making money,
correct.
and they may or may not be successful. Because, see, making money can be a benefit of success, but it's not the equivalent of success.
Yes.
The best definition of success I've ever discovered is this. Success is doing the thing you were created for, being the person you were created to be. In other words, discovering the purpose for your life, developing yourself for that purpose, and deploying yourself in that purpose. If it makes you money, congratulations, you're successful. If it doesn't make you money, congratulations, you're still successful.
Yeah.
If I take my Mercedes GLE 53, which is an SUV that costs, 120 grand. That's worth a lot of money. But if I take that car and I park it in my front yard and I open the sunroof and I fill it up with dirt and put a palm tree in it, it'll be the most expensive flower pot in Tampa, Florida. But it will not be successful because it's not being used for what it was created for. And it doesn't matter how much money somebody makes if they're doing something other than their purpose. They're not successful. They might be rich, but they're not successful.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and that's the thing that you struggle with, right? Because people are like, well, what was I created for?
Right.
How do I know I'm living my purpose?
Right.
What would you say?
I'm so glad you asked that question. So one, I don't believe anybody has the ability to find their purpose until they yield to the one who created them for their purpose before they know what their purpose is.
Mm-hmm.
I can't discover my purpose if I'm negotiating with God. I can only discover my purpose when I'm yielded to Him. So that's where it begins. In a broad and general sense, I can tell you what everybody's purpose is in a broad and general sense.
What is that?
To live in your creative space and make the world a better place. How do I do that? Pleasing God and serving people. That's all of our purpose, whether we know it or not. That's the purpose. If I live in my creative space, in other words, so I believe that God planted an aspect, the seed of an aspect of His creativity inside of all of us.
Yeah.
It is our job to cultivate and protect that seed in the garden that is us. That's my job. And so I discover what that seed is in me. So in you, clearly, real estate, business, that's a seed of an aspect. That's the seed of an aspect of God's creativity He put inside of you. Mm-hmm. For somebody else, it's music. For somebody else, it's writing books. For somebody else, it's being a teacher. For somebody else, it's being a plumber. For somebody else, it's being a carpenter. Right? For somebody else, it's being an artist, like painting paintings, right? The problem we have is when I look at what you're getting and think that if I do what you're doing, I'll get what you're getting, but I don't realize I'm not being who you're being. And so even if I do what you're doing and get what you're getting, I'm not fulfilled and I'm not serving my purpose. I'm attempting to serve your purpose, which I can't do.
Mm-hmm.
So living in my creative space to make the world a better place by yielding to God and serving people, pleasing God and serving people, That's the ultimate purpose. And it's going to look different for everybody.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with whatever that is before you find out what that is, or you may not ever find out what it is.
Yeah. I think, I mean, it's like, right, you're describing the greatest commandment, right? Love God and love others.
Exactly.
And I've always said, especially at like our Christian events, I'm like, hey, we're all trying to figure out, man, like, what should I be doing? I think Christians struggle a lot with, pursuing money and also trying to figure out that dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
But, the other aspect that God calls us to do, if you're a Christian, is go make disciples of all nations.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about that one a lot, purpose-wise, because I'm like, all right, loving God and loving others. Like, I can do that through, my time with God, how I treat other people, the things I create, the offers I create that benefit the world, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think about, man, okay, cool. Like, now how am I making disciples? And I think about that a lot. And I don't know if it comes maybe because God gave me like an evangelistic kind of calling to do that. And I'm like, okay, how do I steward what he's given me with media, with stages, with students, with everything?
What is a disciple? Like, the word disciple in Hebrew is the word talmidim, and it literally means pupil. So making disciples is making pupils. But if you're not making them pupils of you,
right,
you are attracting pupils to the ultimate teacher. And it's so fascinating because I'm like, people say, why teach Christian entrepreneurs how to run? I don't say that. I'll teach a Christian entrepreneur, a heathen entrepreneur, like a Muslim entrepreneur, a Mormon entrepreneur, or a Catholic entrepreneur. I don't care. Right? Because they don't have to believe everything I believe for them to desire what I have.
Right.
It's like my brother's a pastor. I used to be the assistant pastor at my brother's church. I used to be a senior pastor at a church in Georgia. And when I was the assistant pastor at my brother's church, a lady who's a real estate agent in my brother's church, she came to me one time. She said, Myron, why do you talk about business and money all the time? I said, because I don't want to misrepresent Christ in the marketplace. She said, what does that mean? I don't want to tell people I serve a God of abundance while I live a life of lack. That is a misrepresentation. And what I found that's remarkable is there are thousands of people, maybe tens of thousands, potentially even millions of people who listen to what I have to say about good and God, not because they believe what I believe, but because they desire what I have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the light is who I'm being, right? The light of the beingness of me is what I let shine that causes people to see, have an awareness that says, hey, how did you do this? And so people who don't even believe what I believe, they come to my master. Like, I teach business based on biblical principles. I'm not trying to get you to believe the Bible. I am not trying to talk you into following Christ. I'm just being who he's called me to be in front of you and doing what I do in alignment with that assignment. And then letting God do the rest.
You just said something that I'd never thought about before about, God calls us to be the salt, the light. And, you think about that through how you treat people, how you serve people and these things. But I never thought about it from the standpoint of, people want to learn real estate or business from me. Not because of how I serve people. I mean, that may definitely play a role, but they're looking at the end result. They're like, bro, I want money. I want wealth. I want these things. And, it's like, is that part of being salt and light?
1,000%. Because so if you think about the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapter 5, 6, and 7. So you talked about Matthew 6:33 earlier, right?
Yep.
But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. All these things? What things? The things that the Gentiles worry about, what they're going to eat, what they're going to wear, like how they're going to live.
Yeah.
That's what they're worried about. Jesus said, don't worry about that stuff. You just seek the kingdom of God first. Now, here's the question, though. And there are millions of believers who know what that verse says, and almost none of them, pastors included, know what it means. Because if I ask the average Christian, what is the kingdom of God? They say, well, it's heaven. Okay. No.
The kingdom is here right now.
Well, if you think about the word kingdom, it's a compound word.
Mm.
The word kingdom it comes from the word king and the word dominion. So the kingdom is the king's dominion. So after this manner, therefore pray ye, also in the Sermon on the Mount. After this manner, therefore pray ye, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. What does it say next? Thy kingdom come. What does that mean? Thy kingdom come. Jesus, please come back right now and rescue me from this evil world. That's not what it's saying. What it's saying is, let your kingdom come into my life. You become the sovereign king of my life.
Yeah.
When I yield to God as the sovereign king of my life, guess what he does? He makes me the sovereign king over my assignment. And when I'm yielded to God, my assignment has to yield to me. It has no ability to resist me when I'm not resisting him.
Yeah.
And when I rule over the assignment that God created me to rule over, and I use that assignment to serve the people I come in contact with, then and only then am I seeking the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
And guess what happens then? All these things are added unto me.
Well,
All what things? The things that people worry about, what they're going to eat, what they're going to drink, there's living, existing is effortless to somebody who's seeking the kingdom of God. What does it mean to seek the kingdom of God? I'm seeking for God to be the king of my life. And then I'm seeking to be diligent, faithful, and honorable as I rule over the assignment he created me to rule over.
Yeah.
And then I use that assignment faithfully to serve every human being I come in contact with. And some people it's serving them encouragement, and some people it's serving them a smile, and some people it's serving them with teaching them something. But I understand that God put me here by myself, but he did not put me here for myself. So.
Yeah. I even think about the last part of the Lord's Prayer where, it's like on earth.
As it is in heaven.
Yeah, it's like the kingdom is here on earth as it is in heaven. And people, like you said, most Christians don't even understand
think about what
that.
it says. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
Yeah. Like
Well,
right
how's
now.
God's will done in heaven? Immediately and completely.
Perfect.
So when his will is done immediately and completely in here, then I can go out and operate as the person he made me to be. David was able to slay Goliath because he was yielded to the king.
Yeah.
Noah was able to work for 120 years in the desert to build a boat because God said water's going to fall from the sky, even though he was 480 years old and had never seen a raindrop. He was yielded to the king.
Yeah.
Right. And so we don't realize when does a private have more authority than a colonel? When he's on orders from a general. We have to yield to the king.
Let me ask you about that. So as entrepreneurs and people trying to build wealth, we have our own will and desires and goals, and we want to set 1-year plans, 5-year plans, all these things. What are your thoughts on that?
Would you like my answer?
I want to know. I ask Christians this all the time because it's a tough thing of being a good steward and planning properly, but also being submissive to what God's will is and being willing to pivot.
I think goal setting is one of the biggest causes of frustrations in the lives of many people. I do not set goals. Like people say, what are your goals? I don't have any. What do you mean you don't have any? You have some. No, I don't really have any. And that's a different conversation, right?
By the way, I'm in that same camp.
Right. Goals? No, I don't have goals because goals are. This is how I think of goals: desired outcomes in a certain time frame. Right. I have this desired outcome in this particular time frame. Now, I do have objectives that I work towards. But those objectives are not outcome-based. They're input-based.
They're probably not even time-based either.
They're not time-based at all.
Yeah.
You know why they're not time-based? Because I don't get to control the time and I don't get to control the outcome.
Yeah.
Everything is beautiful in his time. That's what the scripture says.
Yeah.
Everything's not beautiful in my time. So if I set a time to it, I'm presuming to know his time. I've got a good friend. Do you know Josh Latimer?
No.
Okay, so Josh. He's a good friend who's in Russell's inner circle.
Okay.
And so Josh and I, we've had a lot of conversation. He's a believer. He's a brilliant entrepreneur. He's a kingdom guy, right? So he's like, we would have conversations like, and this was years ago before I blew up on YouTube, before I blew up on Clubhouse, before anybody knew who I was on Instagram. I was just a dude doing a thing, right? And we'd have conversations like, dude, I'm so mad right now. Your content is so good. It's the best stuff I ever heard. I feel like my brain's going to explode. I can't believe nobody knows who you are. The world needs to hear you. I'm like, bro, calm down. It's okay. Right? And he was like that animated, right? I'm like it's not that big of a deal. It's going to happen when it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Everything is beautiful. And I would say to him that then, everything is beautiful in his time. It's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. It won't happen before.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
Yep.
Right? And then all of a sudden, it finally was time. And we blew up. Man, I'm so happy right now. You blew up. Like, I'm like, right. But I knew I didn't know when it was going to happen. But I also didn't care when it was going to happen. Because my job is to be faithful. And if I am faithful, I will be fruitful.
Well, you know what's crazy too is you said you're 63.
Yeah.
You know, how many 63-year-olds are on YouTube?
Yeah, like rocking it out, not a lot.
No. And you talk about being patient.
Yeah.
Right? You get these 20-something-year-olds who are trying to be influencers and they can't make it.
Right.
And it's like...
They haven't even lived long enough to learn a whole lot. It's going to be beneficial to somebody other than them yet.
Yeah. And I've actually told my team that too before. I'm just like, you know, I'm 35 and...
Wow.
We've had a lot of success, and they're like, dude, what do we got to do to grow the channel faster and more? And what do we got to do? And I'm like, guys, like me personally, and I've told them, I'm like, I have not done enough. You know, if I want to be up there with these different, let's just say A-list guys, it's like, I got to just accomplish more. Like, that's what it's going to take. Like,
right.
I'm not going to be more charismatic.
Right. Documentation beats conversation. Do something that's worth paying attention to.
That's what I'm like, it's just, we have to just be better. Just be better. Like, but me being charismatic isn't going to increase this.
Be better.
Yeah.
That's the beingness part. That's that identity again.
Yeah.
That everything pours out of. Mm-hmm. And so I don't set goals, but I do have objectives. I have input objectives. Like inputs into me becoming better. Like we built our studio out. Like I bought this building a couple years ago when I started on YouTube. Like right after I started on YouTube, I found this building, that 4,700 square foot building, office building, and renovated it, built the state of the art studio in there. And it's like so cool. And it's like, okay, you know what we can do? We can get better cameras, right? Oh, we can get better lights. Oh, we can get sound panels. We can make the audio better.
Yeah.
Right. All of that is beingness stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And it's stuff that people don't see, but they see the result of it, right? So everything in nature that grows in two directions at the same time. The Bible, have you ever thought about how much the Bible talks about trees? It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Like trees are like a major topic in the Bible.
Psalm 1.
Psalm 1.
Yep.
Genesis 1.
Yep.
Genesis 3. We got the trees that have the food. We got the tree of knowledge of good and evil. We got the tree of life. Jesus was crucified on a tree. Like the Bible has a lot to say about trees, right? King Solomon became famous because he wrote about trees, right? So here's what's fascinating to me about a tree. A tree grows in two directions at the same time. It grows down. That's the root system. It grows up. That's the fruit system.
Okay. I never heard that.
So the part of the tree, the nature of the tree that grows down is the gravitropic nature of the fruit. Gravitropic means it grows towards gravity and away from light.
Got it.
The part of the tree that grows up and produces fruit is the phototropic nature of the tree. It grows away from gravity and towards light. The problem most people have is they love the phototropic nature of success. And having a fruit system that everybody can see.
Yeah.
They don't love the gravitropic nature of preparation and having a root system that no one can see. It's the stuff that you do when nobody can see you that makes you worth looking at when somebody can see you.
It was the 14 years of messing around with YouTube.
It was the 14 years of messing around with YouTube. It was the 40-something years of figuring out it was the year and a half of doing presentations with no sales. It was the decades of selling before I got to, well, it wasn't decades, a decade and a half of selling before I had my first 6-figure year. It was all of the no's that I went through that taught me how to get to the yeses.
Mm-hmm.
It was all of the stuff that wasn't working for me, but it was working on me, that prepared me to become the person that was worth paying attention to.
Right.
And if I had not grown through the gravitropic nature of going down in the dark, damp, difficult dirt of preparation, I could have grown a little tree, but nobody would want to look at it. It wouldn't have been worth anything. It couldn't provide any shade, no fruit, no nothing. It's just a little dinky tree.
And this is just what people don't understand.
Right.
Like, so dude, I have so many things to say about this. So, you know, I was talking about playing baseball all those years, and you know, I was literally making $1,200 a month for 8 years.
That's mind-blowing.
I spent my whole 20s doing this.
Wow.
And
$14,400 a year. Yay.
No. We only play 6 months a year. So,
so it's half of that.
7,000.
So it's half of that.
I made 7,000 a year.
7,000. Wow.
And, you know, I just think about that and I'm like, okay, I was playing over 100 games a year, traveling on the bus, playing in or staying in motels, away from my wife.
So you were married.
Yeah.
Been doing this. Wow.
Yeah. And she would come during the summer. Thankfully, she was a school teacher, so she got
so he was
summers
making
off.
some money.
Yeah, she was making $40,000 a year. She was the breadwinner.
Wow.
And, you know, you're just playing for a dream to maybe make it. And the thing is, unlike entrepreneurship where, man, we can keep getting better with age, you get worse. Every year you're in sports. Your career is ending each year.
Because entropy is negatively impacting your energy as an athlete.
Yeah, and your perception to a team is, oh, you're 27 years old now. You haven't made it. Like, you're not going to. You know? And so every year, it's very much like the W-2 mentality of I trade time for money. It's like, yo, every year I am losing a year, and there's a lifespan to this. And I went through that for 8 seasons, and I remember when I flipped my first house, I made $25,000.
You were like, what just happened?
I was like, that was 3 years of work. And I just did it in 2 months.
Wow.
And I still kept playing. I played 3 years
After that.
after. I flipped 50 houses while I was playing because I just loved the game.
That's so good.
But the moral of the story is like, by the time I got into business, my perspective had changed because I was like, these guys are crying about making, you know, they only had made a few $1,000s this month. I'm like, bro, I was grinding it out on bus rides and motels, and I can't make an offer in baseball.
Right.
You just play better. There's no offers. There's just play better.
Play better. Right.
And then I'm like, I can make as much money as I want. I can work as many hours as I want. There's nobody that decides if I'm going to play that game or not. There's no...
Right. There's no arbiter.
This is unlimited of just, I will succeed based upon my own creativity and merit and skill and willingness to go out there and get better. And it has nothing to do with age.
Right.
It also has nothing to do with physical gifts. I was always the smallest guy on my team too.
Wow.
You know, all these guys are freaking big
ginormous.
dudes.
Right.
And so I don't know. It's like, it's this perspective shift, and it's shaped how I've done everything. Cause dude, I'll tell you a funny story. So first time I ever saw Russell was in 2018 at Cardone's 10X. I think you were there too.
I was there.
Yeah. So dude, I'm coming out. I just retired in 2017. So I'm like, I'm a full-fledged businessman. I'm going to go to a business conference.
Let's go. In Miami.
No, this was in Vegas.
Oh, I wasn't at that one.
Okay. So this is what happened. I go to Cardone's thing, and I'm seeing them, like, everybody's cheering these guys on, like Russell Brunson. I'm like, who is this guy? Right. Then this next guy. I'm like, who is this guy? I've never heard of any of these guys.
People.
Who are these guys? These guys are acting like these are A-list celebrities.
Right. And I've never heard of any of them.
And so they're all just talking about how much money they're making online. I buy Russell's thing because I'm just like, I don't even know what I'm buying, but this sounds great. Make money online? I'm out here flipping houses and playing baseball. Wow. And then I go to Funnel Hacking Live, and it was in Orlando because it came with a ticket.
No, I did speak there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, I'm just seeing all these guys making all this money online, and they're all telling their stories because that's part of it.
Right.
I'm like, none of these guys have done anything hard. Like,
Right. Exactly.
these are average at best, normal, everyday people figuring this stuff out. And I'm like,
found the right leverage.
yeah. And I was like, if these guys, and like as an athlete, I don't use such kind words, but I'm like, if these freaking scrubs, like just normal, everyday humans can do this. I'm used to competing against people who are not human.
Right. Right. People who are like intensely prepared to like crush me.
Well, and physically, you cannot, like, you and I have no, like, our mind is our only physical thing that really dictates our creativity. And yeah, there's physical help, but like when somebody else is 6'6" and they can throw 100 miles an hour, it's just not really fair.
Right.
We're not on an even playing field.
Right.
But in business, it is. And I'm like, wow, okay, this should be pretty easy. And that was my mindset going into it. And then it still took a long time. My first 3 years in education, or 2 years in education, I like made nothing. I bought ClickFunnels. I made a course. I sold like 5 courses.
Wow.
And I was like, this education thing probably ain't for me. But I was making millions flipping houses.
So you were good.
I was like, screw this course. This is stupid. But then it was YouTube that sparked it, because I started getting good at YouTube, and they're all just like, well, we need courses, like we need coaching, we need this. And I'm like, oh.
So your free content created the market for your paid content.
I was like you, I never did paid.
Right.
I didn't even know what a funnel was. Well, I did know because Russell, but I never had a funnel.
Right.
Like, it was like, just book a call.
Right.
That was the funnel.
Wow.
I didn't know what a liquidating offer was. I didn't know what a lead magnet was. I was just like, bro, if you just want to be coached, just like book a call.
Right.
And that was it.
Wow.
But people don't want to put in the work and like do hard things.
Right. Yeah. And they think that this easy environment to create wealth is so hard because they've never done anything hard.
Yeah.
Everything I did most of my life was hard. I drove a garbage truck for $6.25 an hour. I got a job working with my neighbor, putting on a rubber roof for a week because I needed the money and I was unemployed. He's like, hey, if you want to come help me put on this rubber roof, I'll pay $8 an hour. I'm like, okay. This is back in the 90s, right? I'm like, yeah, I'll go do that, man. I know how to do construction. Let's go. Well, I'd never put on a rubber roof before. And I didn't realize after you put the rubber roof on, the last 2 days is when the work begins. After you put on the rubber roof, you tear off the old roof, you put down new boards with all the raggedy boards, and then you put the rubber over it, and then you tack the rubber down, and then you tar over all the nails, and then the work begins. What's the work? A dump truck filled with gravel comes and dumps these rocks out on the ground. Hey, Steve, what's this gravel for? It goes on the roof. How do you get gravel on the roof, bro? You shovel it in those buckets, you carry it up on the roof, you walk all the way to the other side of this building that's 100 yards wide, you dump them out, you spread them out, and then you come get another bucket. And we do that for 2 days.
Dude, I flipped like 2 or 3 houses with those roofs. I've always wondered, I'm like, how? Why? Why would this? Like, I don't understand why anyone got this roof. Like, who made this a thing?
Right.
Is it just cheaper? Like what?
Well, on industrial buildings, apparently it lasts longer.
But I've seen it on residential.
I've never seen a rubber roof on a residential.
I've seen it probably 2 or 3 times. I bought a house
crazy.
that has rocks as a roof. And I was like,
what is this?
I'm like, we have to remove this roof. Like, who's buying this?
Right.
Okay, I learned something new.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it took us 2 days to get a dump truck full, a whole crew, shoveling rocks for 2 days and carrying them up on this roof, walking them across the thing. It was brutal. That's work. That's hard. Like turning on a camera and teaching people what you know, even if you don't know anything, that's easier than shoveling rocks and carrying them up a ladder.
Do you think that people should just do hard things that don't pay in the early stages, or should they always just try to pursue high leverage activities?
I think people would be better off if they didn't determine what they were going to do based on whether or not they perceive it as hard or not. I think people would be better served if they determine what they're going to do based on whether it's ideal or not, or what's best or not, or what's the most advantageous or not, rather than whether it's easy or not. Whether or not it's easy is irrelevant. Because even if it's hard, it's not harder than you are strong. Like you will never face an obstacle that's bigger than you. You will only face obstacles that you think are bigger than you. And if you think they're bigger than you, you think the obstacle stopped you, but you actually stopped yourself because you thought it was bigger than you. And the reason I know that is because the first thing God ever said to man was be fruitful, multiply, replenish, and subdue it and have dominion. Subdue means to trample down. What does that mean? Anything that attempts to stop you while you're being fruitful. Be fruitful means to produce on the outside based on what I put on the inside. Multiply means to increase. Replenish means to fill up the earth with the stuff you've increased. And then subdue, trample everything that tries to stop you, because disruption always follows intention. And then and only then can you have dominion. So if God is telling me to trample all the obstacles, that tells me two things about the obstacles. They are smaller than me and they are beneath me. So I've never faced an obstacle that can stop me. I've only faced an obstacle that can persuade me to stop myself. So,
do you think that people should pursue passion in business, or just pursue like problems?
I think people would be better served if they pursued purpose in life and business. What's my purpose? Like, how can I with my life experience, how can I best create value for other people other than me? That's what opens the door. What does the scripture say? A man's gift maketh room for him and bringeth him before the great men. Your ability to provide value for someone other than you is what will open all the doors that are currently locked for you.
So as we wrap up here, I mean, when it comes to just life, I mean, we're talking about serving people, providing value, solving problems. I think that offers are obviously like your solution to how to do that. So how do people figure out, like, I know you got challenges and different things. Like, tell me about that.
So I have a challenge where I teach people how to make offers, and it's called the Make More Offers Challenge. And so I teach people how to make offers, and there are 4 types of offers that if you master these 4 types of offers, if you already have a business and you apply these 4 offers, you can scale your business by 1,280% in 4 moves, and it works every time. And so the four types of offers are: 1, lead generation offers; 2, lead conversion offers. So I'm converting the leads from a lead to a client or a customer. So they're no longer a lead, right? A lead is somebody who's interested in hearing about what you have to offer.
Yeah.
A client is someone who bought what you have to offer. Then you have what I call customer ascension offers, which are premium value offers. That's your profit center. And then you have customer retention offers, where you sell them some kind of continuity program. So they buy it from you once, but they pay you for it from now on. And that stabilizes your business. You master those 4 offers. If you're making $10,000 a month, we've done it so many times. You can scale a business from $10,000 a month to $128,000 a month in those 4 moves. And the maths every time.
And so you're going to teach them how to create those 4 types of offers in their business?
I teach them how to get on the road, because you can't teach a kid to ride a bike at a seminar. But I teach them the essence of what those offers are, and then I help them get started in the arena of creating offers during that week. We do so much. Like I give them the opportunity to promote offers that we already have if they don't have an offer.
Yeah.
I do it. I give them an outline for a coaching program on the last day of the challenge. So now you've got an outline that if you go put your content on this outline, you can sell it and make $3,000 or $5,000. You can have a $3,000 or $5,000 offer. I teach them the primary difference maker in lead generation offers. It's a game changer. So day 1 we do lead generation offers. Day 2 we do lead conversion offers. Day 3 we do customer ascension offers, and then we do customer retention offers, and then we put them all together and show people how to.
So it's is it a 4-day challenge?
5-day challenge.
5-day challenge. How long each day?
So if you're a VIP, it's 2 hours a day. So we do the VIP experience an hour before the challenge starts.
Okay.
And the VIP, a VIP is somebody who pays $297.
Okay.
They get to listen to me answer questions for platinum VIPs. Right? They get this, I sit there and coach people. I charge $40,000 an hour for coaching.
Yep.
Platinums are VIPs who pay an additional $500 so they can ask me a question. Sometimes they ask 2 or 3, depends on how many platinums we have, but they get to ask at least one question. And then the VIPs which is usually several hundred people, get to listen to me answer the questions of the platinums.
Yeah.
That happens for an hour from 11 to noon Eastern time. And then we start the general session at noon Eastern time.
Got it.
And it lasts for Monday through Friday.
Awesome.
The game is it's a wrap.
Yeah. I love, well, guys, I mean, we'll link to it down below because you guys are doing it this month.
We do it every month.
Every month. So this link will be good for anytime you guys are running it.
Eons to come, hopefully. So
yeah, eons to come. And I mean, dude, if he can figure out how to make $10 million figuring out how to fly private, $12 million.
Hashtag just saying.
One for every month. You know, you guys can probably figure out how to go from 10,000 to 100,000, 128,000. So we'll link to that down below. But dude, Myron, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man.
Coming in.
Great conversation, man. So
Yeah.
glad to have met you.
Yeah, great meeting you. Looking forward to whatever else is to come. And, you know, guys, go sign up for it.
Let's
all right?
go.
We'll
Let's
see you on
go.
the next episode.